So often when we meet someone and feel that instant spark, we mistake it for a sign that they're the one. That rush, the butterflies, the excitement, the way the world feels like it's tilted just a little in their direction. It's intoxicating, it's powerful, and it's easy to confuse that feeling with something deeper, compatibility. But the truth is, connection and compatibility are not the same thing. And if we don't learn to tell the difference, we can end up chasing fireworks while ignoring the foundation. Connection is that magnetic pull. It's the way their smile makes your heart skip. It's laughing at the same memes, finishing each other's sentences, having great chemistry over coffee or a cocktail. But connection is not rare. We can connect with many people throughout our lives. You can have an amazing connection with someone who isn't even remotely ready to meet you where you are emotionally. You can connect with someone whose values don't align with yours at all. And you can definitely connect with someone who leaves you feeling anxious, uncertain, or always waiting for the next moment of affection or validation. Compatibility is quieter. It's not loud and showy. It doesn't need fireworks. It needs consistency. It's about the way two people fit into each other's lives, not just how they make each other feel in the moment. It's how they show up, especially when it's not easy. Compatibility is about shared direction. It's about having values that line up in the areas that actually matter. Not whether you both like the same music or have similar travel goals on your Pinterest boards, but how you view trust, communication, conflict, love, and the future. Someone might say all the right things. They might check all your superficial boxes. They might even bring out sides of you that feel exciting and new. But if they disappear when things get real, if they shut down when you express a need, or if they consistently leave you feeling like you're too much or not enough, that's a red flag. And no matter how strong the connection feels, that person isn't right for you. Compatibility is found in the day-to-day, in how someone listens when you're venting after a hard day, in how they respect your boundaries without making you feel guilty for having them, in how they handle your silence when you're tired, or your vulnerability when you're scared. It's in how conflict is handled. Do they lean in or shut down? Do they care more about being right or about understanding you? Do they remember the small things you say in passing, or do they only show up when they want something? Think about it like this. Connection is like finding someone who speaks your emotional language. Compatibility is finding someone who also understands the culture behind the language, the why behind your feelings. It's about someone who not only gets your jokes, but also respects your dreams. Someone who may not always have the same opinion, but wants to build a life that includes your opinion as part of the blueprint. One of the biggest traps people fall into is mistaking drama for depth. If it's intense, it must be real. But intensity doesn't equal intimacy. Just because something feels urgent or consuming doesn't mean it's healthy. It might just be familiar chaos. Sometimes we chase what we've always known, not what we actually need. And if you've been taught that love feels like walking on eggshells or always proving your worth, then a peaceful, steady kind of love might feel boring at first. That calm, safe connection where you're not constantly guessing how they feel about you, that's often where compatibility lives. Compatibility also means you can be your whole self, not a curated version of who you think they'll like best. You can have off days, you can be messy, you can be honest, and they don't use it against you or try to fix you. They just stay, they hold space, they make it clear you're still wanted, even when you're not on. At the end of the day, a person who is right for you will be someone who makes you feel seen, not just desired. They won't be intimidated by your strength, your softness, or your ambition. They won't make you question your worth. They'll reflect it back to you. And that reflection won't be built on chemistry alone. It'll be built on real-world proof, how they treat you in hard moments, how they make decisions with you in mind, how they choose to grow with you instead of resisting every shift in the relationship. Because the right person won't just make you feel alive, they'll make you feel safe. They'll give you a foundation to build on. They'll create the kind of space where trust can deepen, where effort replaces anxiety, and where love feels less like a performance and more like a partnership. And that's where the next signs start to show themselves, in the emotional safety they create, in the way they earn your trust, and in how they make space for both your growth and theirs. Emotional safety isn't something you notice when it's there, you feel it when it's missing. You feel it in the way your stomach tightens before a conversation, in the way you rehearse your words before you speak, or in how quickly you try to minimize your feelings so you don't come off as too much. It's the difference between being in a relationship and being in a performance. And if you can't bring your whole self into a connection, then what you have isn't love, it's survival. So let's get really honest. If you're walking on emotional eggshells, that's not a healthy relationship dynamic. You should never have to shrink to keep someone, and you shouldn't have to wear a mask every time you're vulnerable or struggling. The right person for you will never punish you for having feelings. They won't make you feel like you're a burden for needing support. They'll create a space, not with grand gestures, but through consistency, where you can exhale. That's what emotional safety feels like, the exhale. Emotional safety doesn't mean there's never conflict. In fact, it means the opposite. It means you can have conflict without fear of losing the relationship. It means you can express anger, disappointment, or sadness without someone shutting down, retaliating, or flipping the blame back on you. It's knowing that when things get hard, they don't just emotionally disappear. They don't become a stranger or make you beg for clarity. They stay, they listen, they lean in. People often confuse passion with intensity, but the strongest relationships aren't built on emotional roller coasters. They're built on calm, grounded spaces where you feel secure, even when you're at your most unsure. Someone who's right for you will help you feel stable in the storm, not just when everything is sunny. They're not just there for the highlight reel. They're also in the unfiltered moments when you're anxious, tired, confused, overwhelmed, or just not your best. And here's the beautiful part. Emotional safety allows you to grow. When you feel safe, you're more likely to take emotional risks, to be honest about what you want, to explore your own identity without fear of judgment. You start to share your dreams without minimizing them. You speak your truth without the need to sugarcoat it. You get to be raw. You get to be real. But it takes time to recognize, because emotional safety doesn't always come dressed as romance. It can feel quiet at first. It's in the way they validate your feelings even when they don't fully understand them. It's in how they ask questions instead of making assumptions. It's how they apologize without making excuses. It's how they don't weaponize your past or throw your insecurities back at you when you're in a vulnerable place. You're emotionally safe with someone when you're not constantly scanning for micro reactions. You're not trying to guess if you said too much or said it the wrong way. You can just be. That kind of comfort isn't instant. It's built over time through small, repeated acts of care. It's not about someone telling you they're a safe space. It's about showing you again and again. They show it when they don't dismiss your emotions, even if they're hard to hear. They show it when they hold your fears with gentleness instead of trying to fix you or rush you to get over it. They show it by making it safe for you to not be okay sometimes. That doesn't mean they'll never mess up. They will. Everyone does. But the difference is in how they respond when they do. Do they get defensive? Do they gaslight? Do they twist the narrative? Or do they take responsibility, make amends, and learn from it? Someone who creates emotional safety doesn't just want to win the argument. They want to understand you better. And that means they care more about the relationship than about their ego. That kind of love is rare because it requires emotional maturity. It requires the ability to stay present even when things get uncomfortable. And if you've never experienced that kind of safety before, it might feel unfamiliar at first. You might even find yourself questioning it, wondering why it feels so calm, why it's not more exciting, why there's no drama. But here's the thing, emotional safety is exciting. It just doesn't hit you like a high. It's not the adrenaline rush. It's the peace that comes when someone chooses you with intention again and again and again. And the person who creates that kind of safety, they don't just talk about how much they care, they back it up with presence, with patience, with the kind of effort that isn't loud but steady. Because emotional safety isn't built on big declarations. It's built on a pattern of consistent actions that make you feel seen, heard, and held. And that's where things start to shift into the space of real commitment, where effort matters more than promises, where love becomes less about saying the right thing and more about doing the right thing. Even when it's inconvenient, even when it's hard. We live in a world that's full of promises of forever, of change, of I'll do better next time. Words are easy, they cost nothing, and anyone can say them. But what reveals someone's true intentions isn't what they say when they're trying to impress you, it's what they do when they think you're already theirs. That's where the truth lives. Effort is love in action. It's not a show. It's not about grand gestures designed to sweep you off your feet. It's in the everyday things. The text that says, I'm thinking of you, not because they're bored, but because they genuinely want you to feel seen. The phone call that checks in on your anxiety. The way they remember your schedule, or how they notice when your energy's a little off and gently ask, are you okay? We've all heard the big words, I'd do anything for you, you're my everything, I'm never gonna hurt you. And yet, some of the deepest hurt we carry comes from the gap between what someone promised and how they actually showed up. Because a promise without follow-through is just a fantasy. And fantasy can feel incredible in the moment, but it can't build a future. Effort though, effort is real. It doesn't fade when the excitement wears off. It sticks around when things get boring or stressful or inconvenient. And when someone is right for you, you won't have to ask for basic effort. You won't have to beg for consistency or clarity or care. It won't feel like a negotiation to be treated with respect. You won't have to decode mixed signals or rationalize why they haven't shown up for you again. Because the right person won't just want to keep you, they'll want to earn you every day, not from a place of insecurity or fear, but from a place of value. They'll see what they have in you, and they won't want to risk losing that by getting lazy or passive or entitled. The problem is we've been taught to see effort as optional, especially in the early stages when the chemistry is high and everything feels new. But the truth is, effort is the foundation. It's what builds trust. It's what builds emotional safety. You can't feel secure with someone if you're constantly unsure whether or not they're going to follow through. If they only put in effort when they're trying to fix something they broke, or worse, when they're afraid of losing you. Effort isn't something that should arrive in panic mode. It should be there from the beginning. It should be part of how they love. Not performative, not reactive, just consistent. That looks like showing up when they say they will, being honest even when it's uncomfortable, not disappearing when life gets busy, not using I'm just not good at expressing myself as an excuse to avoid real conversations. It means taking your needs seriously, not treating them like inconveniences. It means being emotionally present, not just physically available. And if someone tells you they love you, but their actions leave you feeling uncertain, anxious, or unimportant, you have to believe the actions, always. Because real love doesn't keep you in confusion. It's not a puzzle you have to solve. And it's definitely not something you have to prove yourself worthy of over and over again. There's something deeply attractive about effort. Not the kind that's loud or flashy, but the kind that's intentional, quiet, steady. A person who makes effort part of who they are isn't trying to impress you. They're showing you that they see you, that they care enough to prioritize you, even when it's not convenient. That your peace matters to them. That your presence isn't being taken for granted. This kind of effort also reflects emotional maturity. It's not about chasing highs, it's about being able to handle the unglamorous parts of connection. The maintenance, the tough conversations, the accountability. It's not just saying, I'll be better, but being better, even in the small things. The way they apologize, the way they adjust, the way they grow with you, not just beside you. And here's something important. Effort isn't about perfection. It's not about always getting it right. It's about caring enough to try, to learn, to show up differently when you know better. It's about investing in the relationship instead of expecting it to run on autopilot. Because at some point, the initial spark fades. That's normal. That's life. The honeymoon phase ends. The routines begin and real life kicks in. And that's when effort becomes the love language that matters most. Not just in words, but in time, in presence, in accountability. Effort says, I'm in this with you. I don't just want the good parts. I want all of it, the real parts, the growing parts, the parts we have to work for. And that's what separates fantasy from something real. Because someone who's really right for you won't rely on charm alone. They'll be willing to build with you, and not just when it's easy. They'll show that love isn't just a feeling, it's a choice, a series of decisions made over and over to nurture something meaningful. And when effort is present, something else beautiful happens. You grow together. You're not pulling all the weight. You're not dragging someone toward a vision they never really signed up for. You're side by side, growing not just as a couple, but as individuals, pushing each other, supporting each other, becoming more because of each other. That's the kind of connection that lasts. And that's where we go next. One of the clearest signs that someone may be right for you is this: you don't stay the same around them. You grow. Not because they tell you who to be, or because you're trying to mold yourself into what they want, but because being with them invites you to step more fully into who you already are. And they're doing the same. That's what shared growth looks like. It's not about changing each other. It's about evolving together. Relationships are living things. They either grow or they stagnate. And so many people fall in love with a moment in someone's life, who they were when they met, and they expect that person to stay exactly the same forever. But healthy love doesn't ask for stillness, it asks for motion. It makes space for transformation. And the people who are truly right for us will never be threatened by our growth. They'll be excited by it. Shared growth shows up in all kinds of ways. It's in the conversations that challenge you, the ones that gently push you to examine how you show up, how you communicate, how you manage your fears. It's in the way they don't let you stay small just because it's comfortable. They call you forward, not by force, not by pressure, but by believing in who you're becoming. It's also in the way you challenge them with compassion, not trying to fix them, not dragging them along, but encouraging them to step into their own evolution too. You're each doing your own work, but you're also part of each other's environment. The air you breathe together should be filled with support, with honesty, with the kind of care that says, I love who you are and I'm excited for who you're becoming. But here's what's crucial. This kind of growth doesn't happen unless both people are open to it. If only one person is doing the emotional labor, the reflection, the healing, while the other resists, avoids, or stays stuck in patterns that hurt the relationship, then it becomes lopsided. That's not shared growth, that's exhaustion. The right person doesn't fear growth because they're not afraid of change. They embrace it. They know that becoming better individually adds to the relationship, that the more emotionally intelligent, self-aware, and whole each person becomes, the stronger the bond becomes. It doesn't make them feel inadequate. It makes them feel inspired. And shared growth also includes how you handle the relationship itself. Do you both take ownership of your impact? Do you learn how to love each other better over time? Do you evolve your communication styles instead of hiding behind, that's just how I am? Growth means you don't use your past as a permission slip to avoid accountability. It means you both ask, how can I show up for you more fully? And how can we make this stronger? It also means you allow room for individuality. You're not trying to merge into one person. You each have your own interests, goals, timelines, and self-discoveries, and you celebrate that. You don't feel insecure when they succeed or stretch or reinvent themselves. You cheer for it, you make room for it, and they do the same for you. Because real love doesn't cage. It doesn't say, only grow if it's comfortable for me. It says, keep growing. I want to know every version of you. And let's be honest, growth isn't always graceful. Sometimes it looks like hard conversations at 1 a.m. when emotions are raw. Sometimes it looks like therapy or setting new boundaries or breaking old cycles. Sometimes it looks like letting go of habits that made you feel safe but no longer serve you. And it's in those moments, the messy, unfiltered ones, that you learn what kind of partner you really have. Do I sit with you in the discomfort, or do they try to skip past it? Shared growth asks for patience. It asks for grace. It asks for the willingness to stay in the room when things get hard, not to criticize, not to rescue, but to witness, to support, and to believe in each other's capacity to evolve. And when that's present, something beautiful happens. You stop just being in a relationship and you start building something, a future, a life, a deeper understanding of yourself. You start creating a foundation that can hold more than just attraction or fun. It can hold trust, dreams, healing, and real love, the kind that makes both of you more whole, not more dependent. The truth is, the right person doesn't come into your life to complete you. You were never incomplete to begin with. The right person comes in to remind you of your strength, to reflect your light, and to walk beside you as you both evolve into something even more extraordinary. Not perfectly, not without setbacks, but with shared intention. Because at the end of the day, the person who's right for you won't just feel good, they'll do good in your life. They'll add, they'll multiply, they'll help you see what's possible and then grow with you toward it. One step, one layer, one version at a time.